And here we are for yet another unboxing, and today we have the ARRMA Typhon GromBLX 2 to 3S. Now, I gotta say that this was a little bit of a spontaneous purchase. I was over at Metro Hobbies in Box Hill, just visiting some friends and saying hello, and they had this on the shelf, as well as a few other ARRMA vehicles. And for some reason, I just gravitated towards the Groms. You know, I haven't had a Grom on the channel. A lot of people are doing these smaller cars. I myself have been reviewing quite a number of small cars from various different manufacturers, and I wanted to try one of these out. So if you want to grab one from Metro Hobbies, be sure to check out the video description. I'll have links in there for you to go and have a look at that. Now, these are available in 3 different colors. You've got the red one, there's a blue one, which is what I got, which you would have seen me unbox, and there's also a silver one. Now, the silver one doesn't come with the battery and charger, whilst the red and blue come with the battery and charger included. It's just a 2S battery with a very basic USB charger, but at least you get that to get you going. These look like pretty insane little cars. They do come with dynamic stability control, which is like a AVC, like a gyro, and you can adjust the gyro on the remote as you go, which I'll talk about later on in the video. Straight out of the box on 2S, these are capable of about 35 miles an hour, which is about 55 odd Ks, and that's not bad. That's really good for a car this size. And then of course, when you throw a 3S in there, that's when you really need to put on the big boy pants, because this thing can get up to, in excess of 80 kilometers an hour on such a tiny little car. It is absolutely insane, and it's no wonder that they've got a dynamic stability control included in here. So without further ado, and so that you don't have to stare at the box any longer, let's have a look at this thing and see what you actually get. Here is the little car. Absolutely gorgeous little Typhon, and then over here we have our remote and we have some goodies. This is a little kind of like features card. There's a barcode in here, like not a barcode, a QR code for you to check out a video, and it gives you some basic information and features on that. In here we have our goodies bag, and there's a bunch of different things in here. So first thing here is the USB charger. This is a pretty basic Spectrum charger, but it should get you going and no problems. Over here we have a tool, which I have to say, I don't know what to make of this tool. Some might say that it's better, some might say that it's worse than the previous tools that ARRMA have included. I don't know, it's got a tiny little Allen key. I think that's a 1.5 mil. And then we have this thing, which I don't think the camera, because I'm using my Insta360 Ace Pro 2 at the moment, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but the Allen key is actually bent at the end, and the camera will definitely not pick this up, but the tip of the Allen key is already like stripped, it's already like worn out. These, look, it's got a little socket nut thing for you to undo your wheel nuts. I don't know, why can't they just put like a little cross wrench and a couple of Allen keys? What is the point of this thing? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know if it's better or worse than the other tools that they've included in the past, but make up your own mind as you go, I guess. Then there's a little card in here that you can keep in your wallet, which will give you like a showcase for the cars and support. Maybe that'll open up a digital manual or something like that, and a QR code. Some AA batteries, which is always good. That's handy. And then of course we have the all-important manuals, which I know a lot of you are always excited to learn about. So over here we have a pretty basic manual. It's got some information regarding the motor mount and different gear options and things like that, how to disassemble it, how to set it up. We have an exploded view on this side as well, which will give you all the part numbers and everything. So if you do have a mishap out in the field, you'll be able to look up what part number you need and check with your local hobby shop if they've got it in stock, or order them online. And then of course we have the more detailed manual. This gives you a list of everything that's included with the car, although it's showing that it's supposed to have some preload spaces, which I don't have. I think that might be for the brushed version, which don't have threaded chocks. That might be the case. I'm not entirely sure, because these are threaded body chocks. You don't need preload spaces. So anyway, this is quite thick because it's written in a few different languages, but it does give you information on how to operate the car, how to adjust your DSC, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and then some more basic information about how to take the body on, how to power it on, blah, 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 the usual stuff. I know that you guys love this stuff, but we need to move on to the radio and the car. Moving on to the radio, we have ourselves something that I've not had before, which is this SL2 radio from Spectrum. It looks kind of cheap. It looks like it's not very well equipped, but I'm going to tell you that I'm actually really impressed with it. It feels really, really nice and comfortable in the hand. Feels really well balanced. The trigger has got a little bit of weight to it, and it's well positioned where the finger is. The wheel actually is a really good size. It's a foam wheel as well. Feels really nice, and the spring tension and everything just feels really good quality. Like, despite the fact that this does look like a cheap radio, I gotta give it to them. This is probably one of the nicer feeling radios that's come on ready to run in quite some time, especially for something of this scale. It's a shame it doesn't look a little bit more pro, but don't let that fool you. I think as long as driving this doesn't feel disconnected, as long as there's no delays or range issues, I think that this is actually going to be an absolute winner. I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, I see it's well balanced and everything because I've already got some batteries in here, because I was playing around with the DSC settings and how to adjust it and everything, so I knew exactly what to do. So yeah, let's get into it. So we've got 4 AA's that run on inside the handle. They're loaded up from underneath here. As I said, the trigger and the wheel feels really nice. We have a steering trim just over here. We have an indicator LED light just there. And then we have our steering dual rate knob just here. Now, to adjust a few other things, we've got a steering reverse switch just there, and we have a 50, 75 and 100% switch here for speed, so you can kind of cap the top speed of the car if you're going to hand this out to somebody that's a little bit inexperienced, or one of the little younglings that will most likely just pin the throttle and steer whichever way. That's a good one to sort of turn down to 50% power, so you're not smacking curbs and trees and someone's ankles at full speed with this little guy. So yeah, the radio itself is actually pretty good. It's got these 2 little stands at the front here, so you can just put it down like that. It's not really meant to stand up. The base is not flat, so I think they did that on purpose so you don't accidentally put it down, because you can tell straight away that this thing's going to is just going to topple over. You can of course lay it down like that, but I think it's really designed to sit like this, and it works quite well. To adjust your DSC, it's very simple. You can turn the radio on. So now you can see I've got my radio on. All you got to do is just lock the wheel all the way to the right. So just keep it locked like that to the right, and then push the power button, which is the orange button on the back here, and that will change the mode. So if I press it, so now I'm in low, so 1 beep is off, 2 beeps is low, 3 beeps is medium, and then 4 beeps is high. So I've got 2 beeps, so I'm on low. If I push it again, you can see 3 beeps, now I'm in medium, high, and 1 beep is off. So now I don't have any gyro activated. And then if you press and hold that, it just turns it off. Pretty simple, very straightforward, nothing too complicated. I think the radio is actually really good. And now for the main event, the Typhon Grom. This blue actually looks really, really nice. I hope that my camera is doing it justice. It's a little bit awkward to work with this camera, I have to say, but I still can use an external mic, and I still have a light source on top of it. So there's the chassis underneath. I like how they've got all this engraving and everything underneath it, which looks really cool. Let's start from the suspension, which, can I say, feels absolutely bang on. Definitely doesn't feel like bashing suspension. It feels like this is designed for the Buggy to actually handle really, really well. It just feels really nice. I'm really impressed with the suspension. Tires, they actually do feel pretty good, very soft, pretty grippy, but they don't feel like they have any foam in them at all. So that will be interesting to see. I mean, if they do have foam, it's like super, super thin, very light, but I don't think there's actually anything in there. Moving on to the shocks, we've got aluminium threaded body shocks. We've got these little protectors here on the front as well. Everything, of course, is in Hex hardware, and the shocks with the little ARRMA logo on there looks absolutely stunning. Really like what ARRMA have done here. Very, very nice. And it's just, oh my god, just the way that this just lands and just stands there. It's very, very cool. Now you'll notice, of course, that this does not have any body pins. It does have a couple of bits of plastic sticking out here, and it's got some more plastic sticking out here as well. And you're probably all wondering what is going on. Well, there is a little clip right on the front here. So that clip, you just basically push this guy back and lift the body up, and that's the body out. So it's got a little tongue and groove type thing on the back here, just slips underneath the rear shock tower. And then this guy, you can see there's like a little hole just there. There's a single body post that goes in here, and then that's designed with like a little hook on the back of it, and it just clips in here, and away you go. And that's really it. So you can see what that does and the way that works just there. So pretty cool that they've done the body like that. And then of course we've got the guts of the buggy just here. We've got our 2S battery, which actually I'm going to leave that till last because I got a bit of a rant to go on about with this thing. So we'll talk about that last. So we have our battery compartment over here. We have our 2-in-1 ESC. So 2-in-1 meaning that it's not only a speed controller, but it's also a receiver. So for you to go and put your own radio on this, it's going to be a little bit tricky. You're going to have to replace the ESC and of course install your own receiver somewhere on the car. I would say that you're probably going to mount it back here somewhere. That's probably the only space you have, if it even allows you to do it, because the little plastic piece needs to get in here. So it's going to be a bit of a fight for some real estate on a receiver, but me personally, I think I'm just going to stick with the stock radio anyway. That comes back here to your brushless motor. I cannot remember the specs on the brushless motor. I'll put them up on screen, and same with the ESC. I'll put that up on screen as well. There is a little fan in here that's mounted directly to the chassis, and that's keeping both, I think probably both fan and ESC cool. Well, it might be sucking hot air off one and blowing cool air onto the other, I don't know, but there's also a heatsink on the motor to keep that cool. And then your steering servo is mounted underneath the speed controller just over here, and we have all our steering assembly and everything sort of going through the front there. We do have adjustable turnbuckles on the front, which is really, really cool. There is no adjustments on the back, but we do have CVDs on the front, which is a nice touch. And we have standard dog bones in the rear. Other than that, there's a great big brace that goes from front to back to really stiffen up the chassis and keep everything nice and tidy. We have a fairly, pretty standard sort of wing mount on the back. Hopefully this doesn't snap off. Doesn't look like there's too much to it, so hopefully it holds up okay. The wing itself does have some good flex to it, which is nice. So if this takes some tumbles, it's unlikely to sort of like shatter and splinter and break off. It's just going to flex a little bit and it should be fine. The entire chassis is very much enclosed. You can see on the back here that there is kind of like an enclosure with just some vents to allow the airflow to go through. But the whole chassis is very closed off. So when you put the body on, it should prevent a lot of debris and grass and pebbles and what have you getting in here. Of course, dust and stuff will still get in there, but for the most part, it should keep the chassis pretty clean. So moving on to this battery, and I'm going to rant a little bit, so I hope that some of you out there don't get too offended by this, but I do have a bit of an opinion on these particular batteries of choice for this car. So this is a 2S 1400 milliamp 30C, which those specs have absolutely no problems with. I think this is totally fine for this type of vehicle. Obviously a slightly higher C rating probably wouldn't have gone astray, but these are the Spectrum Smart batteries. They're the G2, and the thing with the G2 batteries is you might be able to tell there is no balance lead included in these batteries. So what that means is that you are now forced to charge this battery using a Spectrum charger, and more specifically the one that comes with the car. So I understand that, and I'll say this right at the start, like I understand that these cars, when they include a battery and charger, you're kind of playing to the lowest percentages, right? The 1%ers. So the people that don't have experience in the hobby, that don't have any of the equipment to charge up batteries and things like that. So they include a battery, and they've designed this technology to be able to just plug it, one plug plugs into the charger. You don't have to think about it too much, and it charges your battery and you're good to go. All right. But the problem with this is that it doesn't allow the more experienced hobbyists, such as myself and many of you that are watching this, to be able to charge this battery up with your conventional chargers. There is no adapter included in the box. There's nothing that will split this up into, you know, the power and the balance lead that's separate that you can actually put into a normal charger. And that's the kind of thing that really irritates me, because I you know, it irritated me when Traxxas did it, and now Spectrum's done it, and I think Gen Ace has done it as well, or they're about to do it, or they're whatever. But you know, this whole thing of combining the balance lead to the power lead, and or just eliminating the balance lead altogether, like, I'm all for it. I'm okay with it. But the problem is, if you're going to lock it, if you're going to lock the user in to an ecosystem of that specific brand, I think that that's not a good thing. I don't agree with that. I shouldn't be locked into an ecosystem. I should be able to go, oh, cool, they've taken out the balance lead, no problem. I can just get an adapter, or there's an adapter included in the car that I can plug in here, and I can still use a conventional charger. There would be no rant, there would be no complaints, there would be nothing. But to do it like this, you know, I'm going to run this battery for the sake of the review and to show you how it runs on 2S, but then I'm going to swap it out for some 2200 3S batteries that fit in here, because I've actually got a few 2200 3Ss that fit in here quite well, and this battery will probably never get used again. I can't check the voltage on it. I can't see if it's been charged or discharged, or if it's in storage charge. There's nothing for me to allow me to check this battery in any way, unless I buy a really expensive Spectrum charger. All right, so, or I buy one of those Spectrum battery checkers that cost like $100 or whatever they are. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So for me, I'm going to have to cut this plug out, and what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to cut it about an inch away, so somewhere around here. This will allow, you know, give me enough cable to be able to put an XT60 connector on the other end, and then put an XT60 connector coming out of the ESC. So that means I can plug this in and still use my 2S battery if that's something I want to do in the future, and then I can just unplug it and then plug my XT60s straight in here. Thank goodness that I can power the car without the need of this extra grey cable, not gay cable, but grey cable that's in the middle here, because if there was something that this would only work with these types of batteries, I don't think I would have bought this car. There's just no way, but thankfully they didn't do that. So yeah, that's my little rant with these batteries. I appreciate that they include them. I just wish they had you know, something that would allow me to split this up so that I can charge it on a regular charger. That would be the only thing I wish they would include with these cars. But other than that, I mean, the car itself, you know, is perfectly fine. I think they've done a really good job. There's adequate room in here to put some aftermarket batteries. The strap seems to be pretty good as well. It's all very well enclosed. Wire management is brilliant. The suspension feels absolutely fantastic. The tires feel pretty good. I'll be curious to see how these go without any foams in them. You've got, you know, aluminium turnbuckles on the front so you can adjust your toe angles and everything. You've got metal drive shaft, CVDs. Like, there's a lot of boxes that have ticked here, and a lot of really good things. And of course, you can always get the Typhon without the battery and not have to rant about you know, having issues with charging your battery in conventional chargers. But there we go. That is the unboxing of the ARRMA Typhon GromBLX. Cannot wait to get this guy out on the track and just see what it can do. It's been a while since I've had an ARRMA. I think the last one I had was the 6S Big Rock, which I've since gotten rid of. Yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe getting not only this one, but also I'm looking forward to getting some more ARRMA cars as we go through the year. Now, before I wrap this up, I do want to give a quick shout out to Metro Hobbies once again, just for helping me out with the Typhon GromBLX. Again, if you guys want to check one of these out, be sure to check out the video description down below. I'll have links in there to their website, and you can browse not just what they have available in the Grom series, but also in the 10 scale and 8 scale series, and any other RC that they may have on their site. That's it from me, guys. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be speaking to you all next time.